Imagine, just for a second, waking up tomorrow and walking out your front door enveloped in this invisible, unbreakable force field.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Right. And I'm not talking about like deflecting lasers or physical attacks. I mean, a completely psychological force field. Imagine facing the absolute chaos of daily life. So, the passive-aggressive coworkers, or getting that unexpected massive car repair bill, or even, honestly, profound personal loss.
Yeah.
But facing it with a total, unbreakable sense of calm.
It is a very, it's a compelling image for sure.
Yeah.
It's that kind of equanimity where the world is just swirling all around you, and the storm is raging, but your internal weather remains perfectly clear, completely untouched.
That's the dream, right? And today, we're actually going to try and build that force field.
Yes, we are.
We've got this massive master document in front of us, and it's analyzing a 2,000-year-old text called the Enchiridion.
Which is essentially the ultimate handbook of Stoic wisdom.
Exactly. So whether you are, trying to manage daily anxiety, or maybe you're dealing with a deeply difficult boss, or you just want to think more clearly when the pressure is on, you can really consider this deep dive your personal set of cheat codes to mental freedom.
It really does operate as a manual for the human mind. But to truly grasp the weight of this manual, I think we need to understand the environment it was forged in.
Yeah, the backstory is wild.
It is. We really have to look at the life of the person who created these concepts.
We were talking about Epictetus.
Yeah.
So he lived roughly between 50 and 135 CE.
Right.
And his origins are just stark. Right off the bat, if you look at his name, Epictetus literally translates to acquired or purchased in ancient Greek.
Yeah, which serves as this really jarring reminder of his reality.
Wow, purchased.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't born into privilege at all. He was born into slavery in what is modern-day Turkey, and he was actually brought to Rome as the property of Epictetus, who was a very powerful secretary to the Emperor Nero.
So he was literally property.
Quite literally treated as property, yes. His physical autonomy was basically non-existent.
Yet, despite that, his master actually allowed him to study philosophy under this prominent Stoic teacher.
Which is fascinating in itself.
It is. And, similar to Socrates, Epictetus never actually wrote a single word down himself.
Not one word.
Yeah. So everything we're looking at today exists just because his student, Flavius Arrian, basically transcribed his lectures.
He took the notes.
Right. He took the notes and compiled the most practical, actionable pieces into this text, the Enchiridion.
And the title itself, it tells you exactly what kind of text this is. In Greek, Enchiridion translates roughly to in the hand, or, ready to hand.
Like a literal handbook.
Right. Or sometimes it was even used to describe a handy dagger.
Oh, I love that. So it's not meant to be some heavy, dusty textbook of abstract theory that you just, leave on a library shelf.
No, not at all.
It's more like a Swiss Army knife. Or, yeah, a pocket dagger for the mind. You're supposed to carry it with you into the daily trenches to just cut right through the noise and the anxiety of life.
That is a perfect way to look at it, actually, because the engine driving this entire philosophy is the profound paradox of Epictetus's life.
Right.
Here is a man whose physical body was entirely in chains. He could be commanded, he could be punished, relocated at the sheer whim of another human being.
And a lack of control.
Exactly. But within that complete physical subjugation, he realized this fundamental truth. His mind could remain completely untouched.
So his body was enslaved, but he figured out how to liberate his mind.
Yes. He discovered what the Greeks called proheresis.
Proheresis.
Right, which is our faculty of choice. It's our moral center. He realized that while a master could, break his leg, no master could ever force him to believe something he didn't want to believe.
Oh, wow.
Right. Nobody could force him to desire something he didn't want to desire. His mind was an impregnable fortress.
So if we accept that premise, how did he actually build that fortress? How does a person achieve that radical mental freedom? And I guess more importantly for us, how do we apply it to our own lives today?
Well, he did it by looking at the entire universe and dividing it into two incredibly strict non-negotiable categories.
Okay.
He argues that some things are in our control and others are not.
That sounds deceivingly simple.
It does sound simple, but it is a radical cognitive shift when you actually apply it. So in our control are our opinions, our pursuits, our desires, our versions.
Basically all the internal stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
Our own internal judgments and actions. Those things are, by their very nature, free and unhindered.
Okay, and the other side of the ledger, Like the things not in our control.
Not in our control are our bodies, our property, our reputation, our social status, and, well, ultimately, our death.
Wait, hold on.
He categorized these things as weak, slavish, and belonging to others.
I have to push back on this, and I imagine a lot of people listening are probably struggling with this framing too.
Yep.
Because if I, eat leafy greens every day and I sleep 8 hours a night and I go to the gym, my health is in my control, isn't it?
I hear what you're saying.
And if I treat my coworkers with respect and I do really good work, my reputation is absolutely my doing. It's in my control.
So that is actually the most common hurdle people face when they first encounter Stoicism.
Okay.
You are conflating two very different concepts here: influence and ultimate control.
Influence versus control.
Yes, you can, and you absolutely should, influence your body and your reputation. You eat well, you exercise, you treat people with kindness, but do you possess ultimate control over those things? No.
Because, something could happen regardless of my actions.
Precisely. You can eat perfectly and still develop a sudden, unexplainable genetic illness.
That's true, yeah.
Or you can be the kindest person in the office, and a single false rumor from, say, a jealous colleague can ruin your reputation overnight.
It's just like that.
The universe can take your health, your money, or your status away at a moment's notice.
Man, so if I tie my happiness to those external things, I'm basically just leaving my peace of mind completely vulnerable.
You are setting yourself up to be a slave to fortune.
A slave to fortune.
Yes. If your baseline happiness requires, a rising stock market, perfect health, and everyone liking you all the time, you will live in constant anxiety.
Because you're holding on to things that are inherently slippery.
Exactly. True freedom is pegging your peace of mind only to your own choices and your own character, because those are the only things a microbe or a market crash can never, ever take from you.
That is a really tough pill to swallow. Giving up the illusion of control over our own bodies and reputations, it really goes against everything modern culture tells us.
It absolutely does.
But I see how recognizing that reality is incredibly liberating. It shrinks the battlefield.
That's a great way to phrase it. It shrinks the battlefield.
So, okay, if we accept that we only truly control our own minds, what is the actual mechanism for stopping an external event from ruining our day? Like that coworker spreading a rumor, how do I stop that from ruining my Tuesday?
That brings us to what might be the single most revolutionary idea in the history of psychology.
Really?
Yes. Epictetus states that men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things.
Not by the events themselves, but by our judgment of the events.
Yes. The text outlines the Greek concept of phantasia, which means impressions.
Impressions, okay.
And it breaks down human experience into a very fast 3-step process.
Walk me through it.
Step 1. An impression arises. This is the raw event. Let's say someone insults you during a meeting.
It sounds awful.
Right, but that just happens. It is a neutral fact in the universe. Sound waves left their mouth and hit your ears.
But it doesn't feel neutral. It feels like a direct attack.
It feels like an attack because of step 2, the evaluation. We instantly judge what that event means.
Oh, okay.
We tell ourselves, this person is disrespecting me, this threatens my status at work, and that is a terrible thing.
And then step 3 is the reaction, right? Like, my heart rate spikes, I get furious, and I either lash out or you just shut down.
Exactly. But the crucial insight here is that the actual intervention point happens entirely in step 2.
Evaluation.
Right. The event itself didn't make you angry. Your judgment of the event created the anger, and you control step 2.
This is fascinating because we are essentially talking about cognitive behavioral therapy, right? But mapped out centuries before modern psychology even existed.
It is the literal foundation of CBT.
Wow.
Yeah, the modern founders of cognitive behavioral therapy, like Aaron Beck and Albert Ellis, they explicitly drew on this exact insight from Epictetus.
They cited him?
They did. The mechanism for emotional regulation isn't about suppressing the emotion in step 3. It's about intercepting the thought in step 2.
Yeah.
You have to create a gap between the stimulus and the response.
But how do we actually create that gap in real time?
Yeah.
When someone insults me, the adrenaline hits instantly. Step 1 and step 2 feel like they happen at the exact same time.
They do feel simultaneous, which is why Epictetus advised active training. You have to train your brain to recognize the physical onset of the emotion.
Like the tight chest or whatever.
Right, the tight chest, the flushed face. You use that physical feeling as a trigger to pause. You take a breath, and you examine the impression.
What do I ask myself?
You ask, Does this concern what is up to me?
Oh, going back to the dichotomy of control.
Exactly. If the insult relates to your reputation, you categorize it as not in my control. You strip the event of its power by recognizing it as just external noise.
Does the text give a practical way to train for that kind of mental interception?
It does. Epictetus used the example of anticipating difficulty before going to a public Roman bathhouse.
Okay.
He advised his students to mentally rehearse the experience before they even left their homes.
Visualizing it.
Yes. Remind yourself what actually happens at a bathhouse. People are going to splash water. They're going to push you. They might use abusive language.
Someone might even steal your towel.
Right, exactly.
Okay, the modern equivalent of the Roman bath has to be like a toxic family Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, definitely.
Or a brutal morning commute in rush hour traffic.
Those are perfect modern arenas for this practice.
So applying the mechanism.
Mm.
Let's say you're driving to Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay.
You know your uncle is going to bring up politics. You know the turkey's going to be incredibly dry.
Naturally.
Instead of hoping for some Hallmark movie experience, you plan your judgment in advance.
Yeah.
You tell yourself, I intend to eat dinner with my family, and I also intend to keep my mind in harmony with reality.
Yes.
So when the uncle starts yelling, you aren't blindsided. Your brain doesn't panic and flood you with anger because you pre-accepted the environment. Your force field is already up.
You've successfully detached your aversion from the things you cannot control.
Right.
If you expect a flawless family dinner, you are practically guaranteeing your own misery. But if you expect human beings to act like flawed, unpredictable human beings, you remain perfectly calm. You've aligned your expectations with reality.
Pre-accepting the splashing at the bathhouse.
Exactly.
I think that makes total sense for traffic cans and stolen towels and annoying relatives. It's incredibly practical.
It is.
But we need to go deeper into the text here, because how does this philosophy hold up against the really heavy stuff?
Yes.
I mean, it's one thing to mentally reframe a dry turkey. It's another to face true heartbreak or profound grief.
This is where the text asks the most of us, and it is arguably the most difficult aspect of Stoicism to digest.
Yeah.
Epictetus addresses how we relate to the people and things we deeply love, and the approach is uncompromising.
It goes hard. I mean, it's almost shocking to read the first time.
It is. He writes, if you are fond of a jug, say you are fond of a jug, for when it is broken, you will not be disturbed.
Which is fine. You know, it's just a coffee mug. We can all accept that mugs break.
But then he escalates the concept. He writes, if you kiss your child or your wife, say to yourself that you are kissing a human being. For when they die, you will not be disturbed.
See, I read that, and it just feels incredibly cold to me.
I know.
It feels robotic, almost like a defense mechanism. Like, are we supposed to walk around feeling nothing? Are we supposed to hold our own families at arm's length just so we don't get our feelings hurt if something tragic happens?
It's completely understandable why it sounds abrasive to modern ears. It really does.
Yeah.
But if we really drill down into the psychology of what he's teaching, it is not a call to coldness or emotional suppression at all.
Okay, what is it then?
It is a call to absolute clarity.
Clarity in what sense?
We suffer so deeply, not because we love, but because we love blindly.
Oh, wow.
We operate under this delusion of permanence. We treat temporary gifts as permanent possessions, and we treat mortal beings as if they were immortal.
That's so true.
Epictetus isn't telling you not to grieve. He is saying that when you actively acknowledge the fragile, mortal nature of the people you love, you actually love them more fiercely and more presently in this exact moment.
Because you aren't taking tomorrow for granted.
Exactly. You are stripped of the illusion of permanence. When you tuck your child into bed, recognizing their mortality doesn't make you love them less. It forces you to be entirely present for that specific moment, knowing it is fleeting.
That is heavy.
It is. And later in the text, he reinforces this by saying, you should never say about anything, I have lost it. You should always say, I have given it back.
I have given it back. That completely shifts the ownership of our relationships, doesn't it?
It does. He uses a very striking analogy of a sea voyage to explain this.
Oh, right. The shore leave analogy.
Yes. Imagine life is like being on shore leave. You get off the ship, you walk on the beach, and you might pick up some beautiful shells along the way. Those shells represent your wealth, your status, your health, and yes, even your loved ones. But when the captain calls from the ship, you have to drop everything you've gathered and return.
Because none of the shells were ever really yours to keep. You were just holding them for a little while.
Everything external is borrowed. The Stoic goal is not to suppress the pain of handing those things back, but to accept that handing them back is the natural order of the universe. When the time comes, you give the gift back without demanding to know why it was taken.
There is a really profound, grounded peace in that framing, even if it is intensely difficult to accept.
It is the work of a lifetime.
Right, which brings up a huge operational problem. Because understanding these rules intellectually is one thing. Actually living them on a random Tuesday, when your car breaks down, your boss yells at you, and you're operating on 4 hours of sleep.
Yes.
That is incredibly hard.
Epictetus intimately understood that human nature makes this difficult. The source material outlines how he categorized human behavior, essentially giving us a cast of psychological archetypes to show how we fail and how we can succeed in this practice.
Let's walk through those archetypes, because the archetypes of failure are painfully relatable.
Very relatable.
So first you have the hedonist. This is the person who just chases short-term pleasure and avoids discomfort at all costs.
Right.
Modern translation. The person who doom scrolls for 6 hours to avoid thinking about their actual problems.
Exactly. Then you have the slave of passion.
Oof.
This archetype is a total victim to their own emotional dysregulation. They are constantly reacting to external events.
Like getting cut off in traffic.
Yes. If someone cuts them off, they spend the next 20 minutes screaming at the steering wheel, completely surrendering their peace of mind to a stranger in another car.
Just handing over the remote control to their emotions.
Exactly.
And then, perhaps the most relevant one for our current era, the social conformist.
Oh, definitely.
This is the person whose drive is entirely dictated by the need for external approval and status. Their baseline happiness depends 100% on what other people think of them.
Which is a remarkably fragile way to live, because you are placing your self-worth in a category reputation that is fundamentally out of your control.
Right. Modern social media is basically a global factory engineered to produce social conformists.
It really is.
We are literally outsourcing our happiness to the opinions, the comments, and the likes of complete strangers on the internet. It is exactly the trap Epictetus warned about. So for you listening right now, it's worth asking yourself, which archetype do you default to when things go wrong? Do you chase a distraction? Do you lash out in anger? Or do you obsess over how the failure makes you look to everyone else?
It is a vital question to ask oneself, because the antithesis of those failures is the ultimate goal, the Stoic sage.
The sage.
The sage is the perfect, untouchable master of self. Someone who possesses total emotional equanimity regardless of the external circumstances.
But the sage is an impossible ideal, isn't it? Like, nobody is perfectly calm and rational all the time.
Epictetus knew that too. He didn't expect anyone to be a perfect sage tomorrow.
Okay, good.
That's why the most important archetype for us, the one we should actually strive for, is the philosophical progressor.
The progressor.
The person practicing prokoptine, which simply means progress.
This is my favorite part of the framework, because the progressor knows they aren't perfect. They know they are going to stumble and get angry sometimes. But the strategy is to start incredibly small.
Yes. He advises beginning with small losses. If you spill a little oil or someone steals a cheap cup of wine, you use that minor frustration as a training ground.
Like a mental gym.
Exactly. You consciously practice engaging your psychological force field. You look at the spilled wine and you say to yourself, this is the price I pay for my tranquility. This is the cost of keeping my mind free.
So you're basically treating everyday annoyances as reps in the gym. You practice keeping your cool when you spill your morning coffee, so that you have the mental muscle memory built up when you face a major crisis.
Right.
Like a sudden layoff or a health scare. You build resilience on the small things, so you are ready for the big things.
You are constantly expanding your capacity for equanimity.
Wow. We've gone on quite a journey through this manual today. I mean, we started with the jarring reality of a man born into slavery who managed to completely liberate his mind.
We did.
We explored the fundamental dichotomy of control dividing the entire world into what is truly ours, like our judgments and choices, and what is not, like our bodies, our wealth, and our reputations.
And we unpacked the cognitive mechanism of intercepting our own thoughts, creating that vital gap between stimulus and response. Realizing that events don't upset us, our evaluations of those events do.
Yeah, that's step 2. And we looked at the incredibly difficult truth of loving, without the illusion of permanence, accepting that everything we have is just on loan for the universe.
Giving it back.
Giving it back. And finally, accepting that we don't have to be perfect, untouchable Stoic sages. We just have to be progressors, putting in the reps on the path.
Which culminates in what we might call the ultimate Stoic cheat code found in the text.
Lay it on us.
Epictetus writes, "Do not seek to have events happen as you want, but want them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go well."
Want them to happen as they do happen. That is such a crucial distinction.
It is.
It isn't about passive resignation or giving up. It is about actively aligning your own will with reality.
You stop fighting the fundamental nature of the universe and you start moving with it. You stop demanding that traffic clears up just for you, and you accept the reality of the road.
It is brilliant, and it works. But before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one final unexamined metaphor from the source material that we want to leave you with.
Yes.
Something for you to ponder on your own time as you go about your day.
It deals with the concept of the false pride we take in external goods.
So, Epictetus notes that if a horse were capable of pride, it should be proud of being a fast, strong, capable horse.
Right.
It shouldn't be proud of wearing a beautiful, expensive, gold-trimmed saddle, because the saddle doesn't actually belong to the horse. It belongs to the rider. The saddle is just an external thing placed on its back. The horse's true worth is in its own nature.
Yet human beings take pride in our saddles all the time. We wrap our entire identities around our wealth, our designer clothes, the zip code we live in, or the impressive job titles we hold.
So here's our final question for you to consider. If you were suddenly stripped of your saddle, if you lost the job title, the bank account, the clothes, the social media follower, the reputation you've built, what is left?
What remains when the external world is entirely removed?
What is the internal excellence, the character, the capacity for choice that is truly, undeniably yours? Figure that out, locate that untouchable core, and you will have built that unbreakable psychological force field.
Beautifully said.
Not by blocking the chaotic world out, but by finally understanding exactly what is yours inside it.